Coming up today on the show, the first of two pickups videos of mine from the month of May. Alright, so I've recently had 3 weeks of work, and as a result, I went on a bit of a spending spree with a lot of retro games, so I thought I'd just show you, my latest pickups in that regard. So, starting with the top of that pile, Ninja Shadow of Darkness for the PS1. This is not really an impressive game by any stretch of the imagination, but I remember seeing a technical demo for it when it came out, which was, 97? Something like that? 98, and it looked pretty good. It does actually play pretty good. It's kind of a cool game, but it was overshadowed at the time by big releases like Resident Evil 2 and Metal Gear Solid on the way and stuff like that. I mean, there were a lot of great sort of throwaway PS1 games, for lack of a better term, that didn't get much coverage or got sort of annihilated by the critics because there were much bigger games coming out. You just got to remember that the wealth of quality games on the PlayStation was absolutely insane. But yeah, that's a really good little title. Grand Theft Auto, the original for the PlayStation, not as good as the PC version, but surprisingly quite good. I did give it a run through on the PS3. It runs a lot faster than I expected it to, especially in 50Hz. Yeah, but $2.99. That's pretty good. It's worth owning. I own all the other games, so I figured I might as well complete the set with Grand Theft Auto 1. Rebel Assault 2, I picked up for $4.99 in GameStation. These are all GameStation actually, these 3 retro. For some reason GameStation was supposed to have stopped doing retro games, but now they've brought it back, which is really weird. Haven't played this yet. I remember it from when I was a kid. I've got Rebel Assault 1 for the 3DO. It's pretty bad, but you can appreciate what they're trying to do with the sort of the FMV. It's basically just an interactive movie, really. But, at the same time, production values at the time were spectacular, and it's nice to look back and just see it now. Let's have a look. Moving on to sort of more current generation. This is Mario Strikers Charged Football. What do they call it? Like Mario Strikers Charged in the States? I can't even remember. Not a great game. I picked this up when it first came out, when the Wii was sort of starved of quality games. For like 30 quid or however much it retailed at. And I was utterly gutted and disappointed because I wanted to buy the GameCube one for ages, but it was still about 25 quid in the shops. And considering the GameCube was pretty much extinct at that point, I didn't see it as worth it. So I picked this up when it came out, hoping it would fill the void of Mario Galaxy and stuff of that nature that wasn't out at the time, and it kind of sucked. But for $4.95, I'm willing to give it another shot, and hopefully maybe this time around I'll enjoy it a bit more. This was $7.95 in Blockbuster Video. This is the Simpsons game. Really high production values on this. The humour from the series is actually there, and it's quite funny. A lot of times you read in reviews that they say it's funnier than the series or as funny as the series, and it generally isn't. But this is it's really kind of funny. The thing that sucked me in was when you start playing it, you do the first mission, which is kind of guided, and then you've got an open world, and as you're walking around the streets you see like Sideshow Bob and Chief Wiggum and Bart and Lisa and that, and each one you walk past will say a different thing to you, and it's so obscure. The references to the series are so good. If you're a Simpsons nerd, it's fantastic. Personally, I sort of started to hate The Simpsons around about 2002, but I still got a love for the fact that it used to be good, and it's such a rich world with all the characters and what have you. Pretty good game. Speaking of games that aren't so good, Two Worlds, which kind of got slated for being a bad Oblivion clone at the time. I don't mind any RPGs really, and despite the fact that this has got really bad animations and it's glitchy and the voice acting is just unbelievably poor, it's something you can just give a run through. Haven't played a lot of it yet, but what I have played of it, honestly, I quite like, and I'll probably enjoy playing it in spite of its shortcomings. Overlord 2 for $4.95. I like the original. Haven't played this yet. I don't know what else to say really. I mean, it didn't get very good reviews. It's generally the same as the first, only instead of grassy environments, there's a few snowy environments. I don't think they fixed much of the issues with the camera or the controls, which is kind of a bummer, but I don't really care. I'm happy to play more Overlord, and for $4.95, considering it's not that old, that was an absolute steal. I picked up Wolfenstein for $9.99. This is still sealed from Game. I have actually rented this and completed it, but this game to me is so interesting because it ran on the Doom 3 engine, or like a modified version, and that came out last year. Doom came out in 2003, so it's like a 6-year-old engine that they decided to use to develop this new game in one of their biggest franchises as well, one of its biggest franchises in Wolfenstein, and they were happy or content to use that really dated technology. It's just fascinating how that got made, and like I say, it's not terrible, but it's just not what you'd expect. In fact, to be honest, I really enjoyed it. There's some structural issues with the way the gameplay works that can be quite frustrating, and I think the difficulty does get a little cheap towards the end. But at the same time, like I say, it's almost like they made the ultimate original Xbox game. It's that kind of thing. The technology's behind the times enough that you can sort of be annoyed if you picked it up expecting next-gen graphics, but at the same time, it's as good as the Doom 3 engine will ever get. So, for an engine that should have been probably abandoned a while ago, it's just really unique. Let's run through these ones quickly. Colin McRae Rally 3 for the Xbox. I like the Dirt games, never really got into the other Colin McRae's, so I picked this up. And actually plays really well, so I might have a few plays through that and then see how that goes. And if I can get into it, I'll complete it and then maybe pick up, I think 4 and 5 came out for the original Xbox. Get those as well. Driver Parallel Lines. This was apparently the redemption for Driver Free or Drive Freer or whatever the bloody hell it was called. I played that when that came out and that was absolutely horrific. I played this when I got it last week and yeah, this is pretty good. I like the idea here. They've got basically 2 eras. I think it's 70s and modern day at the time, which is 2006. So you've got all sorts of different cars, all sorts of different environments, all sorts of different dialogue, and a nice story that covers both periods. Physics on the cars really good. The gunplay is pretty good. It's a lot better than it was in number 3. And these open world games, sandbox games, tend to have, for some reason, bad gunplay and aiming mechanics anyway. It's almost like they copy a little too much from Grand Theft Auto. But yeah, it seems pretty solid. I haven't sunk much time into that, but I certainly will. I look forward to it. A lot different still from the original Driver games. This is Van Helsing for the Xbox. I haven't played much of this. It was at the time a Devil May Cry clone. That's all I can say really. Obviously based on the movie, came out at the same time, but I think the reviews were decent. They weren't terrible, like a typical movie tie-in. Unlike reviews for this, which were terrible. That's Worms 3D. Yeah, this was the first transition to 3D for Worms, and it didn't pan out so well. But again, I'm curious to see what the first attempt was like. I ended up with Worms 4, I think it is, which actually plays quite well in 3D. So it'd be nice to give this one a shot. I am a fan of the Worms series, and like I say, it's just curiosity really more than anything. How much time have we got here? 3 minutes? Okay, let me just have another look here. Right there we have Theme Park World, which is supposedly the sequel to Theme Park, the original Theme Park. They didn't want to call Theme Park 2 for some reason, I guess because technology was moving so fast at that time, and you associate Theme Park with really sort of pixelated 2D visuals. I don't know, there's got to be a reason that they called it World. Style-wise, I mean, there are several different, I don't know what you call it really, themes, strangely. The only one I've seen is like a sort of prehistoric theme, and I'm sure there's like a futuristic theme, and you run them all in the same vein, much in the same vein as the original game, and it's in 3D. Runs pretty well for an early PS2 title. It's on the blue disc. Says it's actually developed by Bullfrog, which I didn't know. I thought they'd handed this out to another team. But it plays very much like the first one, which is fantastic by my standards. Unfortunately, it doesn't emulate properly on the PS3, which is what I played it on, so it's really glitchy. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with that, and I'm really into theme park games right now, so I'm going to enjoy playing through that one, for sure.